Hello and welcome back to Padho to Aise. So we are going to start a web series where we are going to discuss 1000 most important questions and fact for SAU, South Asian University MA International Relation. In each lecture, I'm going to discuss 10 questions, and from each question, I'm going to discuss 10 most important fact, which could be the part of your examination. So there would be total of 10 episode in this web series of 1000 question. So stay tuned, and if you want to purchase 1000 most important question PDF, then you can download our app Padho to Aise or can visit on our website. The link is given in the description box. The course of SAU is also available on our YouTube channel. Sorry, on our app actually, because nothing is free nowadays. So it's on app and it's paid. So let us start. So question number one is, who is considered the father of the classical realism in international relation? So answer is Hans J. Morgenthau. You already know that classical realism basically focus on the human nature. So according to Morgenthau, if you understand the human nature, then you will be able to understand the international politics. Talking about Kenneth Walsh, he is also one of the realists. He is referred as the defensive realist, and he is called the father of neo-realism. Talking about E.H. Carr, he is also a realist, and he has written a very famous work that is called 20-Year Crisis. Hedley Bull. Hedley Bull is related to the English school, and we are going to discuss about the English school later on in this video because I have included one of the question. Now the answer for this one is going to be Hans J. Morgenthau, as I discussed. Now let us understand 10 most important fact about this question, or which we can withdraw from this question. So the first fact could be the Hans J. Morgenthau. He gave the six important principle of political realism, which are very important, which are emphasizing on power and national interest. So basically, all the countries, all the state, they are seeking their like national interest, and in order to fulfill their national interest, they have to gain more and more power. So this is what the theme of Politics Among Nation is. So Politics Among Nation is a very famous book which was written by Hans J. Morgenthau. I already told you about the second point. Hans J. Morgenthau said that if you want to understand the international politics, then you have to understand the human nature. Because human nature you will give you the better insight that how the states are going to act and how their foreign policy is going to be. So that is actually the first principle of realism which the Hans J. Morgenthau gave out of the sixth principle, that international politics is governed by the objective laws, and the objective laws are rooted in the human nature. So if you know the human nature, if you can understand the human nature, then you can understand the international politics. And that is why later on, when the Kenneth Walsh came, he said that the classical realism was unscientific, because you cannot study the human nature, you cannot predict the human nature, it is very uncertain, there is no pattern at all. So therefore the neo realism, it focused on the structure rather than the human nature, and that is more scientific. And this is the claim of Kenneth Walsh and James Mersheimer. Those are the thinkers. Talking about the third important point out of this, so first principle of realism, we already discussed about this one, that the human nature is important for understanding the international politics. Whatever I'm speaking, that is also important. You could pause the video, you can make the notes, because everything could not be written in the fact sheet. So the fourth one is very important. E.H. Carr is not the father, okay, but still one of the very influential thinkers of realism, and he wrote a very influential book called 20-Year Crisis. That is very important, which we have to understand. I told you about Kenneth Walsh right now, that he focused on structural realism. He's called the father of neo-realism as well. So he's focused over the structure and human nature. Whatever would be the condition, what is the meaning of structure over here? Structure is the condition of international system. So condition of international system will determine that how the states are going to act. For example, take non-alignment movement. So non-alignment movement, the India was one of the most important partners of non-alignment movement. If you see the international system, there was Cold War at that time. So when there was a Cold War, the world was divided into two parts. One part was favoring USA, another part was favoring USSR. If there would be no Cold War, if there would be no Cold War in the structure of international politics, why there would be the non-alignment movement? That there would be the group of countries which would be, like opposing both of them, that I'm neither in USA nor in USSR bloc. So therefore, Cold War is the main reason for non-alignment movement, right? So structure is more important. So whatever would be the climate and the weather, according to that you are going to act, and that climate and weather is the structure. So today I'm carrying the umbrella because there is, rainfall. That's why it's raining outside. If it would be not raining outside, why I would be carrying the umbrella? This is just one of the example which I'm trying to give you. So I hope you get the point. Headley Bull belonged to the English school. So English school is a kind of compromise between the realism and liberalism. So, talking about the realism. So realism, they are actually very pessimistic. They are saying that if every state is at war with everyone, and there is no, like, there is anarchy, there is a lot of problem, right? And on the other hand, the liberalism is very optimistic. They think that okay, the states are cooperating together, they never go on war, and etc etc. But English school, it try to balance both the sides at the same time. English school says that, whatever the realism is saying, that is the extreme of one end, and what is the liberalism says, that is also the extreme of another end. The reality is in between somewhere. So that's the point. So it is also called international society school. It would be not that easy to explain everything about this just in one lecture. In course, I have explained everything. If you visit the app, you will come to know I have detailed, like gave the I have explained all the concept in very detail if you see. So Hedley Bull's important book, The Anarchical Society, is important for your examination in SAU. The next one, the Morgenthau classical. Okay, one more thing. So Morgenthau said that states are not acting as per the universal moral principle. A state may cloak their activity, they may hide their activities, their action under the universal moral principle. For example, America attacked on Iraq. So America attacked on Iraq. It said that like she is attacking in order to protect the freedom of the Iraqi people, but that was not true. So she was just trying to hide the main motive, the national interest of herself, just in the cloak of freedom, liberty, equality, and human rights and all. So therefore, the states are not acting as per the moral principle, and Morgenthau says that they should not act according to that, because if you are going to act according to the morality, you may not be able to fulfill the national interest of your state. So that's the point. Let us go to the next one, question number, like fact number 8. So, like a realist, they reject that there could be global cooperation among all the country. They argue that the conflict and competition bound to happen. They are inevitable. You cannot stop that because there is anarchy in the system. There is anarchy in the international politics. There is no world government which is going to protect anything, right? And this video I'm making in English because, if you are going to enroll in SA, you must understand English because all the professors speak English, all the readings are in English. So if you are a Hindi medium student, it's not a good idea to enroll in SAU. So that's another thing. And there is a very important quote by Morgenthau, which you have to understand, that international politics, like other politics, is nothing for the struggle of power. So, like generally the politics is defined as struggle for power. In same manner, the international politics could be defined as struggle for power. I'm making a lot of effort. If I get, a kind of decent like, then I'm going to continue the lecture. So please hit the like button and please appreciate my hard work because I literally do not get any time. I teach in a lot of places. In US, I teach in India. I'm a PhD scholar, so like pursuing my PhD in a lot of things. So if I'm taking the time and giving the time on your lectures, then you should also appreciate my hard work. Okay, let us go to the next one. The concept of anarchy in international relation primarily refers to, what is the concept of anarchy in international like relation? So this is the absence of a global sovereign authority. There is no global sovereign like authority which could control the action of all the states. That's the important point. So the same thing has been written over here. There is no central authority. That is the meaning of the anarchy in the international system. So anarchy is the central concept to realism and neo like realism. This is very important question. Okay. And according to realist, since there is anarchy, so therefore they actually focus on 3S. What are 3S concept? The 3S concept is every state is willing to survive. So it is survival, security, and self-help. That's very important. This 3S concept of realism. Since there is anarchy, it's very tough to survive, first of all. Secondly, for surviving, it's important that you should ensure your survival, that is security. If you're getting the food today, so security for you is you should get the food for 365 days a year. And self-help, no one is going to provide you the food. You have to eat your food You have to, earn by your own, like no one is there to help you out. So self-help is very important for the countries. If you are not, like self-help is very important, like no one is going to help you out. So you should not be, dependent upon on any other state. And India is doing correctly right now. India is not depending upon any state or any big power. You can see, like what the Ukraine is going through. Ukraine like believed that Western countries is going to save her, like when Ukraine would be in trouble, but you can see what the situation is right now. So the next one is very important, the Kenneth Walsh book. This is also important fact, Theory of International Politics. I already explained this point that structure is important in international system and structure is anarchic. This is what the Kenneth Walsh also say. Now, this is very important. Alexander Wendt. Alexander Wendt is a constructivist thinker. And what is constructivism? Right now it will be not correct to explain the constructivism in a great detail. I have explained in lectures on app. So like basically you have to understand that constructivism focus on norms and values and tradition. The meaning of national interest is not same for all the countries. The meaning of national interest depend upon the culture of the country, the tradition, the custom they follow, the norms and values they have. That is how the national interest is defined. So there is no, like core national interest or an objective in like national interest for all the nations. That's the first thing. So constructivism, they focus on the norms, values, and all. There is a very important statement which the Alexander Wendt makes, then anarchy is what the states make of it. It really means that like anarchy is socially constructed. If suppose there is, let me explain this sentence to you. This is very important. First of all, this was told by Alexander Wendt, important question for SEU, that anarchy is what states make of it. So suppose if I have a gun in my hand, so why you are fearing that I'm there to shoot you? It may be for my protection, but you are just constructing the image in your mind that I'm the culprit and I'm going to harm you. So this is how you are making the anarchy in your mind. You are thinking, okay, I'm there to harm you. I may not harm you, but you are making that in your mind yourself. So this is what the Alexander Wendt says, that when a state is gaining the power or acquiring the arms, then the other states are very skeptical about that, right? They are like very, very narrow minded that the state in front is acquiring a lot of arms, a lot of ammunition, so it could harm us. But it may not be the case. So anarchy is just the construction of her mind. Okay, that's the point. But actually, it has a lot of limitations as well, because you like never know. It's like prevention is better than cure. If the country is acquiring the arms, it's better to acquire the arm at the same time, what the realists say. So therefore, the realism is the meta narrative or the grand narrative, because realism is most famous one. Okay, like why you should trust the other people, right? So they may cheat you. That's the point. I hope you get the point. Now, talking about this anarchism concept. This anarchism concept came from the Leviathan, right? The Leviathan is the book written by the Thomas Hobbes. And as there is the state of nature in the society before the state, when the state did not came into the existence in same manner, there is the state of nature in the international system, what it says. I already explained you about the English school. English school focuses on international society. English school says that there is no complete anarchy nor complete order. This is the point. Like realism says that there is anarchy in international system. On the other hand, liberalism says that there is order in international system. But English school says that it is somewhere in between. There is neither anarchy nor an order. It is in between. That's the point. Now, liberal theorists, they say that if you want to eliminate anarchy or want to reduce that, you could do that by, establishing the institution, interdependence. That means the relation between and uh, the countries among each other, also the trade among each other. So that's the point which you have to understand. And then democracy. Democracy is the best way to eliminate the anarchy, they says. In fact, one of the most important liberal thinker, which is Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant gave perpetual peace theory, and perpetual peace theory says that if the all the countries will become democracy, then there would be no fight, there would be no war, because democracies do not fight with each other. because the citizens of the particular country will not allow the government to fight, because the citizens, they are the ultimate sufferers. So there would be the widow, there would be orphans, a lot of things will go on. So that's the point. Talking about 8, anarchy contribute the okay, this is the point. Anarchy contributes to security dilemma. What is security dilemma? That mistrust, that fear in your mind. This security dilemma concept was given by John Hirsch. This is also a very important question. Remember that one. If I'm acquiring the gun, you are very narrow minded and you are thinking that I'm acquiring the gun just to shoot you. So, this is what the security dilemma is. Okay, let us go to the next one. That is number 9. So, number 9 is okay, anarchy is the main reason which underpins the balance of power. Balance of power is very important. So, due to anarchy, the country has to undergo the balance of power, because they know that if there would be any mishappening, so they are the one who are going to help each other, right? Like help themselves, the self help is there. So, anarchy is the main reason why states go for balance of power. That's the main reason. Now let us go to the next one. Despite its centrality in realism, the idea of anarchism is interpreted differently across the paradigm. As I told you, for realist, it is the competition. For liberalist, it is moderated. That means the anarchy could be, can be resolved, can be reduced. For constructivist, it is nothing but it is a kind of misconception. It is a kind of construction of the human beings, construction of the state, and it could be actually eliminated or it could be reduced only through interaction and communication. If someone is having the gun, go and talk to him that why you are keeping this gun? Is that for you? That guy want to shoot you? Is that the reason, or that is just for their protection? So that's the point. Let us go to the next one. Okay, the security dilemma. We already discussed this concept right now. So security dilemma is related to realism. Who gave the concept of security dilemma? John Hirsch gave the concept of security dilemma. That is important. Okay, yeah, there is one more thinker who talked about security dilemma. That is Butterfield. So Herbert Butterfield also talked about security dilemma. Remember that. So same thing it is. There is an article very important which John Hirsch wrote, Idealist Internationalism and the Security Dilemma, and from there this concept came into being. And I already told you that in anarchic international system, self-help is only the way to survive for any state. Important. So security dilemma, this is very important question. Security dilemma actually fuels the arms race. Security dilemma promote the arms race. That's also very important. Then offensive realism. Offensive realism, particularly in the works of John Mersheimer, you could see. Okay. Offensive realism, see, there are two kind of neo-realist. One is defensive like neorealist and one is offensive neorealist. Kenneth Wald is defensive. Kenneth Wald says that you should maximize your security. You should keep as many as arms and ammunition, which would be enough for your security. But on the other hand, John Mersheimer, who is the offensive realist, believe that you should be the power maximizer. That means you should maximize the power. You should be in the top of hierarchy of the power so that no one dare to show an eye to you, you should be at the top, you should be the best among all. And John Mersheimer says that China is the offensive realist. China want to be over there. I explained you this one, defensive realism. Constructivism, Alexander Wendt, I already told you about this. Liberal institutionalist, I told you about this one as well, that they think that international institution transparency, these could actually mitigate the problems of security dilemma. And security dilemma is a tragic aspect of international politics where a lot of money is being spent only and only for buying a lot of ammunition, arms and all. So that's the important point. Question number 4. Which theoretical tradition in international relation emphasizes the role of norms, identities, social interaction in shaping state behavior? I already told you the constructivism that focus upon the norms, tradition, culture, etc., etc. So that is going to actually shape the state behavior. That is in fact going to decide that what is your national interest and what is not. So basically the same things has been written. Okay, I have explained you these concepts. Now, this is important. Alexander Wendt book is given over there, The Social Theory of International Politics. That is important book. Constructivism views international system as subjective. That is very important. That means the same thing can be interpreted. The same event, the same phenomena, same incident could be interpreted differently by the different nation states because their different culture come into play. They have different concept. They have different idea of justice, different idea of liberty. A lot of different things are there. Okay, that is important. So same thing they are actually trying to explain. I already have told you. So Martha Finamore is very important, which you have to understand. Like this scholar is related to constructivism, and then there is Seeking. So Seeking is also important contributor in the constructivist theory. So constructivism allow the change in international politics. See, the realism says that the international politics is cyclic. Actually, history repeat itself. This is what the realism think. If there is war, again after few years, after some decade, again there would be the war, there would be the conflict, tension, and that will again ultimately turn into the war. But constructivism says that there could be the change is possible. Okay, if you have the collective effort, you can make the change. And slavery has been abolished, colonialism has been vanished, apartheid we fought. So these all are some of the change what we made by the collective effort. So they focus on the qualitative method. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. So that's the important point. So now talking about question number 5. Question number 5, who wrote the book Perpetual, or this is the issue, Perpetual Peace, a philosophical sketch? So this is, I already told you the answer, Immanuel Kant would be the correct answer for this. So this guy influenced the democratic peace theory. Democratic peace theory in IR is given by Michael Dwell. I'm writing the answer. The name of the thinker is Michael Dwell. You should write this. So as per Michael Dwell, the democracies do not fight with each other, as I told you. But this idea of Michael Dwell has been inspired by the perpetual peace theory of Immanuel Kant. This is what you have to remember. Hugo Grotius is known as the father of international laws, very important. John Locke is one of the most influential thinker who influenced the liberalism strand of international relation. He is also famous for his natural right theory. He talks about right to life, liberty, and property. That's important. Jeremy Bentham is called the father of utilitarianism. And father of Jeremy Bentham is also important because if you see realism quantify the things, see the things in quantity rather than quality, unlike constructivism. And Jeremy Bentham actually, you know, he prefers the quantification of the data, the quantity of the data. So that's why also influencing, as you see the realism and other strands who just focus on the quantification of data and all. So I already told you, all these concepts. So is there anything else I need to tell you? These all are the same thing which I explained. I already told you that Hugo Grotius is the father of international law. Important. Okay, Jeremy Bentham coined the term international law. This is very important. And he was the utilitarian philosopher, you know that. So this is what the important things about this question is all about. Okay. Which of the following theories critiques mainstream international relation for being Eurocentric and marginalizing the global South? So answer for this would be the post-colonialism. See, post-colonialism theory, whether that is in international relation or in political theory or anywhere you study. According to post-colonialist thinker, there is a lot of thinker I could quote. I could name, like Gayatri Spivak is there, then Edward Said is there, then Homi Bhabha is there, a lot of Homi Bhabha is there, Gayatri Spivak is there, as I told you. Uh, Edward Said is there, a lot of thinkers are there. So, according to post-colonialism, the colonialism has been ended. Whatever was the colonization of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, that has been ended. But still, if you see the academic disciplines, if you see the academia, the subjects, they're still colonized. Talking about international relation or international politics, talking about, the other, like The other subjects, the English or maybe history, so they are still colonized. They are focusing on the America and the European country, the West European country. They think that they are only important. Like according to Stanley Hoffman, or if you see the statements of Morgenthau, so they says that if you want to learn the international politics, you just study the relation between the nations which are in Europe and the nations which is in America, like mainly Canada and America, and all other nations are not important. That would be just the waste of time to study their international policy, to study their foreign policy. For example, they quote that if you are like learning the international like policy or foreign policy of any smaller country, like maybe Malaysia, then that would be the waste of time. Learning Nepal is waste of time. This is what they say. So this is post-colonialism. I hope you get the point. Okay, so this is the main concept, what you have to understand. So Edwards said, wrote a book, very important, Orientalism. Gayatri Spivak, she gave the concept of like subaltern, very important. French Fanon is one of the most important and influential post-colonial thinker. He wrote this book. You have to remember this one. After that, there is nothing much about this. This is what we have to understand. Okay. Now, who is closely related to the world system theory? So, world system theory is related to the Wallerstein, Immanuel Wallerstein. That's the important point. So, Immanuel Wallerstein in world system theory. See, first of all, understand most important concept what you have to get out of this question. So, if you see the traditional Marxian approach or Marxism, traditional Marxism was focusing within society. Traditional Marxism was talking about the class struggle within the society. But if you talk about the neo-Marxism in international relations, and neo-Marxist theory is not like Wallerstein is considered to be the neo-Marxian theorist, and this world system theory is nothing the part of the neo-Marxism in international relation. So according to them, there are three type of countries. Okay, there is a core state, then there is semi-periphery state, and then there is the periphery state. So core state are the developed state who have a lot of technology and who have a lot of capital, a lot of money. Semi-periphery states are the developing state who are in between, intermediary. And talking about the periphery state are on the verge of the exploitation. So the periphery state, they have a lot of natural resources, they lack like technology, but they have a lot of cheap labor and lot of raw material. And those raw material and cheap labor has been exploited by the semi-periphery and the core state. And core state also exploit the semi-periphery states as well, like IITN from our country. So if you see the IITNs are there in America, a lot of them are working. They're paid less than the American citizens, and they're still working. So this is how the cheap labor is drained out of the country. This is one of the example. So this is what the concept of world system theory is. The world could be divided into core, periphery, sorry, semi-periphery and periphery. Core is exploiting the both periphery and semi-periphery. On the other hand, the semi-periphery is also exploiting the core. Sorry, the periphery. That's the point you have to understand. And like Joseph Nye gave the concept of smart power in international relation, also the soft power in IR. That's also important, which you have to understand. Okay. So these are the important things. This is the key work, the modern world system. This is the important work of Wallerstein. You have to remember, I told you this concept right now. They talk about the structural inequality. I told you that how the labor, cheap labor is there, and how the raw materials are there in the periphery region, and on the core there is a lot of resources and all, sorry, a lot of technology and like capital. Same thing has been written. So this theory has been drawn from the dependency theory, and dependency theory is given by Samir Amin and A.G. Frank. You can also remember one more concept of Samir Amin, which is called unequal exchange, which is very important for your examination. And this is just the explanation of the concept, what I told you right now. So yeah, same thing it is. If you read, you will understand what I'm trying to say in this. Which thinker gave the concept of soft power? Right now, I told you about this. So it's Joseph Nye. So Joseph Nye gave the concept of soft power in his book Bound to Lead. This is important. You have to remember that. Soft power is defined, like there is the power of persuasion, and there is the power also in order to subjugate. So soft power is the power to persuade, not to crusade somebody. Power to crusade means power to suppress, power to exploit, power to pursue, power to motivate, and to get the work done. That is called the soft power in nutshell. So soft power, the same thing, it has been defined. Okay. And smart power is the mix of the hard power and the soft power. Joseph Nye identified the three primary sources of the soft power, very important: culture, political values, and the foreign policies. Very important for your examination. Soft power is being admired by the liberal strand in international relations. Like Nye later on gave the smart power, which is a combination of hard power and soft power. Hard power is nothing but a kind of economic and the military, right? The military force and economic force, that is called the hard power. Soft power is a kind of persuasive power based on the culture, etc., etc. The rise of digital diplomacy and global media has amplified the need of soft power. You already know that how the soft power is important nowadays, because you cannot go for the war all the time. Then John Chipman gave the concept of fast power. Fast power is also very important. Fast power is like how quickly you can resolve any crisis in your country. That is called fast power, given by John Chipman, important for you. So these are the important points what you have to understand. Now, which of the following is a core assumption of neoliberal institutionalism in international relation? So what is the core assumption of neoliberal institutionalism? This is what they're asking for. State act only in their own interest and avoid cooperation. International relation are an anarchic world. No, they do not believe in anarchic world. Institution facilitate the cooperation by reducing the transaction cost and uncertainty. That's the correct answer. Because neo-institutionalism, it believes that the institutions, organizations such as WTO, and there is a lot, UN and all, they actually reduce the transaction cost and uncertainty and give the stability to the world. So that's important. This concept is also related to one more strand, that is called complex interdependence. That is one of the part of the neoliberalism. Okay. So neo-institutionalism is given by Robert Cohen and Joseph Nye both. Remember, After Hegemony is the important book written by them. Okay, so these are the important point. Key theorists are Robert Cohen, Stephen Krasner is there, Joseph Nye is there. You have to understand. So these are the important points what you have to understand. Okay, prisoner's dilemma model. This is frequently used in games theory. So it can also mitigate the prisoner dilemma model where the people could trust each other. That's the important thing. Neo-institutionalism emphasize on the absolute gain. It's very important concept. See, understand. Realists believe on relative gains. What is the meaning of relative gain? Realists believe that two countries cooperate with each other when they think in their own that they are only getting benefited by the cooperation, that they are only the winners in this cooperation, and they both think the same. And by if two countries will know that they are mutually giving a kind of like they are mutually benefiting each other, then they will not cooperate. This is what the realism says, and that is what the relative gains are. But absolute gains are cooperating among each other despite knowing the fact that this cooperation is going to lead to the mutual benefit. So like knowing the fact that both are being benefited with each other, like mutual benefit, and then cooperating, that's called absolute gain. I hope you're getting the point. It's a very bulky thing, like you have to like I have to explain all the 10 facts and all. Please like this video if you want the more of this kind, because when I make one, I'm not get paid by YouTube. Like YouTube pay like very less what is my fee and what else are. So I never get the motivation to make the YouTube videos and all. I try to make one, but after the response what I get on the YouTube, then again I just go in the dormant mode. So independence theory I'm talking about. Sorry, interdependence theory. This interdependence theory is important, right? And this is from like this is the inspiration. The interdependence theory is the inspiration for complex interdependence. This is what you have to understand. Okay. So these are the important facts what you have to understand. Come to question number 10, the last question of the lecture. Finally, we are on the last one. The concept hegemony as ideological consent in critical international relation theory most closely. Okay, so concept of hegemony is given by Antonio Gramsci. According to Gramsci, the strong countries, the superpowers, they are not controlling you economically or cultural like or technologically. They also control you culturally. Like they indoctrinate mind that their way of living, their way of life is better. They're wearing the suit and pant, you should also wear suit and pant. You can't wear the dhoti and kurta. Then you are a primitive if you wear that. So there is McDonaldization of the world. Everywhere you can see the McDonald's, there is Domino's and all. So this is what the American culture is. And Americans are not influencing you just by power, just by technology. They're also influencing you by the hegemony, the cultural hegemony. The culture also play a very important role. You are just a brown American guy or a brown British guy, a brown Western guy, because you just try to be like them. So that's the important point. Okay, one more thing, like why I'm speaking in English, like this is also a kind of becoming Western. I don't think so, because English is an important language. Because if you see the Western countries, all of them do not speak English. So there must be a common language which must act as a bridge between the world everywhere, right? So that's important actually to speak English. You may claim that like Chinese do not know English, but Chinese government is good. Like if our government will do that better, then why not? You can. And also, if you see the majority of the population of China is the Han's Chinese, and they have their own language which is called Mandarin, like the Chinese language, right? So they have a common language, but the India is the country of diversity, so there could not be just one language. Like if you just try to take any Indian language, then there could be offenses. People will say, why will not learn Kannada, like the Kannada language, or maybe no, why not Malayalam? Why only Hindi? So better to take a language which is, like not from India, English language, then no one will have any problem at all. So this would be a kind of compromise. Like otherwise, you see, like the language politics, the lingual politics in India is getting worse and worse. If you see the tussle between the northern and southern states, so that's the another fact actually. And all the other concept, whatever related to them, I already have told you all of them, right? Okay, Robert Cox is important thinker. Remember, he says that whatever the knowledge is being produced, so that knowledge is produced by someone and for some purpose. There is the purpose of the knowledge. Without purpose, no knowledge is produced. So theory is always by someone and for some purpose. This is what I said right now. So these are the important things. There is one important book what you have to understand. Prison's Notebook, that is written by Gramsci when he was in jail. He was jailed by Benito Mussolini. So these are the 10 questions, and out of these 10 questions, we have discussed around 100 different concepts I have told. And if you will recapitulate once more, then I think you will get the questions better and everything. So thank you so much. So I would be available with the next lecture. So till then, if you want to prepare well for your SAU examination, you can go and buy SAU course from our app that is like available at very decent price. Also, there is 1000 important question available in the course. There are two simulating mock tests. There is a lot of thing. Current affairs PDF is there. A lot of things are there. You can grab them and you can make your preparation well. And please like this video, subscribe to our channel so that I could be motivated to make more and more video and I could bring more videos for you. Thank you so much everyone and have a great day ahead and all the best for your examination in future.